happening?
I was told to make my cake blowing face.
That's not your cake blowing face.
All right, so welcome back, everybody. I'm just gonna talk right over cake. So everybody's here. Everybody's great. Varso,
Everybody is
Varso,
here.
if you want a hero point, right now, sorry, chicken nugget. Just say hello. No. Varso.
I don't think he wants one.
Yeah, I guess he just doesn't want a hero point. All right, well,
right.
Varso, if you speak at all in this session, you get a hero point.
I'll give you level 20.
All right.
He'll pop in.
No, there's no. If it was like anyone else, I might be like, maybe they're listening, but there's no way Varso listen. He won't even listen to it after this session. So.
All right, Varso, you
Wow.
heard it here. If you jump in
Challenge
and say anything this session, you get to level 20 right now. And let's find out what happens this episode. Let's see if Varso decides to speak today.
Yeah.
I would love to be in Varso's position, and you have to just said that. And me sitting at home, like sitting at my parents or something on my mobile, going, "Oh fuckers, I'm in."
Yeah, I'm going. Exactly.
Hey, what's up,
watch the
losers?
channel.
Yeah, let me kick him from the server real quick.
Change his role real quick.
Yep.
What's up, plebs at level 5?
Varso is at a school function or something of the sort, college function, I don't know. But I'm
Nerd.
sure he's gathered around a very important meeting with everybody huddled around his phone watching this Twitch stream right now.
Oh, for sure.
He's probably
He's like,
playing
look what
beer
I could
pong
be
with
doing
Frat.
right now. Okay.
Dr. Leonard
Plays
at a
geek.
doctor's symposium trying to get his license back, just like at a conference.
Ooh, better one. Varso, you get your license back. Dr. Len will get their license back if you just right now. No, you don't want the license. Oh, all right.
All right. Fair enough.
He let you die, so I don't think he's getting his license back.
That's true. All his fault.
Trying to get this music level right. It's like a weird
It's perfect.
song that I don't want to pop off. Okay. I get
Pop
to
in.
start with a lore drop today.
Oh.
Drop it like it's hot.
Because our audience loves us and keeps donating syrup drops.
Yeah.
I don't think you're talking about our audience.
Nope. The random audience members love some show and donate syrup drops for some reason. Okay.
Rude.
We play back the last scene from last week's episode. We watch as the Ghost Forge codes blip away from the screen, completely gone, and we find ourselves transported elsewhere within the universe. We see what looks like a shoddy bar. Neon lights of different colors hanging off each wall, a failed attempt to give the place an ambiance higher than it deserves. Drips of liquid can be heard from the left, clinking glasses to the right, as the camera zooms in on a trap door on the floor behind the bar, barely covered by a rug, and we hear murmuring voices. Inside, under the rug, we see a room that looks akin to a back alley tattoo parlor, except it's like more set up for VR and cyberpunky things. Like, if you've ever played Cyberpunk, you know when the first time you go for a brain dance, like you get put in that chair and the things get put over your eyes and everything else.
Yep.
It's like a dentist chair for VR, basically.
I'm game. Let's do this.
In the chair, we see what looks to be a human male, average height, weight, shaved head, with some sort of machine covering his eyes and inserted to the back of his neck. We hear a familiar Lashunta voice behind him. I'm seeing something a little off here. Can you get back to your body? And by the sound work of the room and the camera, we can assume he also hears this voice in his head. For those that can't recognize my voice, because I'm a very poor voice actor, that was Zeha. That was Neno.
Oh.
Yeah, I know what's about to happen here, and I'm just more angry. Just so angry.
His left finger twitches, and then again. Then again. At that point, we hear a little panic in the voice. Get out of there. Boop. We hear her voice cut off by an explosion, followed by a clenched teeth scream from the chair. We watch pieces of machinery clank against the ground, and the human fall to his knees. Holding it. That's good Sirenscape music.
That's a scream, right?
That's a scream.
Oh my God.
Okay. We see him fall to the ground, holding his right eye, blood gushing from behind his hand. We hear his voice, no longer screaming, but with anger and hatred behind it. Tell them the ghost forge is down. Heavy breathing then steadies after a minute, showing intense training to quell the pain. That freak was there. I almost had them. And we hear fading out as the camera switches back to Moat's face.
Go to hell, Jish. Go to hell.
Wait.
And now we're back.
That freak?
Jish was connected
Yeah.
through.
Yeah, he was. I was wondering why an assassin would sacrifice his like whole being to attach himself to the Ghost
Same.
Forge. So he wasn't. He was doing like the Guardians of the Galaxy thing with the gold people, but like they do like the.
He was remote. Yep.
Yeah, he was remote.
Yeah.
He was avatared in.
Hmm.
God damn.
And Nanal finally, Carrick gets the opportunity.
I guess I should ask, is this like that kind of technology, that remote connection? Obviously, this is some subterranean, like, back room of a bar type thing in this situation, but is that technology always, like, is it a known technology in this universe, potentially? Like, is that something that we might be able to think of ourselves? Does that exist?
I would say, so this is going to blur the lines of out of character and in character, and I don't want any metagaming here. I would say that you guys would not think of it because while it is a technology that exists, it exists for robots and drones and things like that. Not thought of to exist for a sentient race ever. Now, obviously, the lines are blurred here, but like I don't know how it would ever cross your mind currently.
That's fine. I know
But-
that sometimes it's hard to blur that line, so I was just kind of curious, like, what type of
Like, obviously, it crossed your player minds now, but your characters didn't see this flashback either, you know?
So, Tetsu's assumption is that, because I think from what he saw in the hack and making his decision on the choices, he probably assumes that Jish got downloaded to wherever this place in the wow, I can't think of the thing. The drift. Yeah, the place in the drift that the signal was going, because he assumes that, like Zeha, this person was kind of lost in the sauce and kind of downloaded there or something. That seems about right for what he might think.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you all thought that Jish had a chance to come back to his body.
Yeah, but I saw the actual option.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And same with Zeha, like, saw the red light go off.
into the distance.
Into the distance, never to be seen again.
Do I get a hero point if I
sure
know if Jish is really Jish or who Jish really is? Or I'm sorry, a chicken nugget.
Yeah, I mean, you're the only one that would know, but I'll give it to you.
That's fair. And if it is the obvious one, then I think that might be a little too
I don't think you should say it at this point. I
too
think
easy of
Yeah,
a point.
no.
I think I understand that there's something happening here, and we're gonna leave it at that.
All right. Remind me, and when it happens, however far away that is, if you tell me like I was right, I'll give you a hero point. A cheeky nigga.
I mean, I can DM it and we
yeah,
can award it
I have a
later if
conjecture.
we want.
This is something from Moat's past.
Yeah.
nope, you're wrong.
my god!
What gave you that idea?
You're
Sierra?
welcome. Finger guns out of the chat.
All right, guys. I think she lost some of her intelligence in the computer. I didn't download everything. My bad.
Yeah,
That's
it's really
on
weird
me.
my accent didn't come back.
Yeah.
Super weird. All right, but we're back in the normal world, not the flashback or lore drop world. And Zeha's body is coughing, waking up. Again, you might feel a little disoriented, but you feel fully healthy. Like you probably feel better than Tetsu, as you're not even at one hit
Probably.
point. No, I think I said you're at one hit point as well,
Yeah.
but you have all your max health back. So
I've also been slightly electrocuting her to get her heart started again. So she probably
and she
doesn't,
dies.
feel
She
that
takes
great.
2 HP of electric damage.
That's so unlucky.
No, you said her max hit points are back to normal.
Yeah, it's
She's-
fine. But do I have all my stamina points?
Oh, that's true. Yeah. And basically, I assume everyone's starting to rush over, but you see like Dr. Lin and Eisen both like over your body.
Oh no, Tetsu's not rushing over. He is fucking down. Just laying there. Alive! Clearly alive and moving, but just down.
Twitching like a fish.
I think
Just breathing heavy.
I think that like coming back to consciousness in the current like world, the shift from everything I just went through emotionally and like with my soul basically, and then coming back into a body that, yeah, 1 hit point. I think I'm just gonna pass out again.
Okay.
Like,
Tactical feint.
is it immediate?
now she's dead.
Is it immediate in the way that we can tell that you're like alive, or is it like?
Yeah. So
It's right after one of the electric shocks.
basically,
Yeah, it's like,
I open my eyes and I'm like trying to like lift my head for a second to like focus, and it's like kind of like wobbly, and like I look over, see Dr. Lin like kind of like, you know, scan the room like, okay, Dr. Lin, Tetsu's over there somewhere, Mo, Eisen, all right, I'm out. And then like my eyes kind of just like roll back and like
okay.
Dr. Lin, like quietly keeping to himself, checks you over for a minute and says, "She's alive."
Yes.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm just
God.
really excited for his voice.
I like this Lin better.
Does this count? Is he level 20 now?
No, you said Varsa, not Dr. Lin.
Fair enough.
Oh, by the way, I wrote my answer on the last actual page in this book, so that's available for later.
Perfect.
I think Eisen, feeling that wave of like relief that she's breathing and not actively dead, and kind of able to shake himself out of his own stupor a little bit, and once Dr. Len says she's alive, will heave a sigh of relief and then just kind of prop her against one of like the spokes of the Ghost Forge so that like she can't swallow her own tongue or something while she's sleeping.
As one does. I'm kidding.
Look, there's a
I'm
whole protocol
kidding,
when
I'm
you're dealing
kidding.
with people who are unconscious.
Tetsu is just kind of like still laying there, but slowly like looking up and looking to see if he sees Dole, and if Dole looks distraught.
Dole is just kind of standing there, pretty blank.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Robot.
I have-
Robot face.
Yeah. Are we sounding robotic to you right now?
No.
Am I sounding robotic?
Nope.
Okay, so hold on.
Oh.
Give me a
You
second.
all sound wonderful. Come on, Thera. Jeez. See, now they're just talking. Their mouth's not making any noise.
All right, somebody say something
Very-
again, please.
Hello.
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 Tetsu, what
Halo.
the hell did you do? Why did it all go away?
I didn't. the code.
All right,
I
hold
don't
on.
know.
We're having problems.
Damn it.
Internet.
We deleted the code for Twitch.
Yes.
Oh no.
We do.
Oh no.
Perfectly timed, as all things should be.
I'm better now.
All right. I think everyone's okay. Somebody say something.
You're all terrible.
Glitch the
Yeah.
Matrix? Glitch in the
Okay.
Matrix?
Yeah.
That was a weird one. We probably just had a spike of internet. Okay. Yeah, to repeat myself, Dole is kind of just standing there, a little incredulous, like not moving, just, I mean, if a robot could be stunned into silence, he is currently.
Yeah.
Also holding the nuclear bomb.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Eisen put that down.
Tetsu is going to just slowly sit up very weakly and then just push himself to his feet and stand over Dole and just slowly and firmly, but like not like too aggressively, grab the sphere and just pull it from his hand to hold on to it.
Okay. Give me a second. I'm gonna make a roll here.
He punches you and you die.
Unlucky.
Well, good luck.
I shoot
Yeah.
Tetsu with my pulse caster.
Murderer.
Why?
It's not
no,
lethal. It's fine.
he is stunned enough that you just kind of like very slowly slip your fingers around it, start to pull it, and his hands don't even react. You just take it from him like it's like you're taking it off a podium or something.
Candy out of a baby's hand.
Which I often do. Yeah, Tetsu just takes it from him, kind of does that clasp a hand on a shoulder thing, like, and then just thinks that this probably doesn't help at all, and then just quietly just goes to shuffle over towards where everybody else is standing and just slumps back to the floor and goes, we should leave this room soon.
What happened?
The code is gone for the forge.
Wait,
It's
what do you
all
mean?
gone.
As in, like, he'll look at the computer
no
and be
more
like,
forge.
and there's nothing we can do?
Not with this forge.
So it won't work right now?
Is that Jish? Or,
No.
what's her name?
Dole.
Yeah. Or not
Visco?
Jish, sorry, Dole or
That was
Visco.
supposed to be Dr. Lynn.
Oh, sorry.
I was not
I
Dr.
forgot.
Lane, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I forgot Dr. Len is not...
I
Farsighted.
forgot Dr. Lynn will be
and-
coming from your mouth.
Yeah.
In a non-robot voice, you hear
I know.
that.
Tetsu just kind of nods a bit and he goes, all the code is gone, the forge is gone, and there's nothing left to recover. If what is outside the city really exists, there may be the factory that has a different forge, but I do not know how that works.
We have the blueprints for the forge itself, but we shouldn't. And he'll look at Dole at this point. Is he like still actively computing?
For
A little bit,
enough
yeah.
round.
You see it's like a... You see he's actively computing, and you guys can probably just connect the dots of... I mean, he let you down here. He said do it. And then literally you ruined all of their futures.
Well, he
Or
also
though-
had
at
though-
a.
least, or at
Tetsu-
least y'all think.
Yeah, Tetsu will say, he goes, it may have been designed to collapse when we broke the system that was trapping them here and wiping them.
Maybe a computer's check.
I don't know if it's true. I'm just hoping it's true.
Yeah, it's a.
17.
Definitely a possibility.
Yeah. Okay. Then he is sticking to that because it sounds less bad.
As he mentions that, Moat thinks, is it a possibility that the connection with the other side, with the where the energy was going, do we think that might be where the signal could have come from to wipe everything? Can I just big brain that? Maybe see if that is a possible theory.
Yeah, you can give me a computer check too.
28.
Yeah, all right.
Also-
cut it out.
Also, definitely a possibility. You think that if it has the ability to talk one way, it probably has the ability to talk the other.
Logical.
You guys were digging around in there for a while. Is there anything that you can do? Something we could rebuild? so
There's
that we don't
nothing
start
in
from
there
zero?
left. It is empty.
I mean, the machine itself is right here, right? So what's stopping us from finding a different way of just turning it on again?
The code I found Zeha in was more magic than code. And I barely was able to salvage anything.
When given Zeha's like handling in there as well as
Coma.
like being in there, is it something that she would know as well about like this code is more complex than just a code?
I mean, yeah, like all of y'all kind of saw that it's like, I mean, it was at least as magical as it was code, and then obviously you at least assume you were inside it, like you don't know, but
Right. Okay.
yeah, kind of.
Yeah, slowly. She's kind of like this conversation is filtering in and out of her like consciousness right now as she's trying to refocus.
You wake up with like a pincushion after Dr. Lynn has tried to inject you with 45 different healing potions. I'm just kidding.
Acupuncture.
You just also fading in and out of your consciousness, and you hear it's just shooting down at you.
Roll a 1d100 for the adaptation serum accidentally slipping in there.
Dr. Len, how did you miss so much? Tetsu will again kind of like look at the others and go, we should leave this room and go back to our other room so we're not around the forge in case anybody comes down here upset.
Should we leave? We can tell Ivan
How?
about. We have what we came for.
How? Oh, the door.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Looking at Tetsu, and like he's very actively like going, right, like
Tetsu's again plopped down on the ground like
Are you
just
like next to Zeha?
next to he's like basically
Yeah.
next to Zeha, looking worse than an unconscious Zeha.
Mm-hmm.
And like you can see like when he got up to grab the thing from Dole, like he can, if he really wants to, he can act, but like he is just, if he's not actively like doing something that he has to accomplish, he just looks wiped.
Yeah.
we should leave and then contact Arvin. Maybe he can help fix this mess. There are maybe better spellcasters than us. I don't know anything about how magic works. This
What?
takes more than just us.
What just happened?
Eisen will start a little bit, thinking that you were like out. A problem, nothing for you to worry about. We have it.
You died.
Dr.
He'll
Lynn's still
like
relatively
actively wince.
Dr. Lynn's still relatively like keeping disconnected for now. Says yes, and me and Eisen were able to save you.
No. No, there was.
Yes.
There's voices and she's like trying to like
Seeing you actively struggle, Aizen will be like, "Now's not the time. Who knows what you saw in the forge? We have to leave now."
You will have to bring her. Tetsu says as he just stumbles to his feet and goes to walk past Dole.
And I think Aizen will do like a quick medicine/bodyguard check on Tetsu. Do I think I need to like help Tetsu also get to the door if there was like a need to run? Would he be actively hampered?
That's your call, Tetsu.
I mean, you saw Tetsu. He looked similarly shitty before going to the computer to help Zeha, and he was able to act quick and strong when he needs to. But like, basically, unless like he's acting like, you know, when like people do those like superhuman things, like when they're like on that adrenaline rush, like he can do that if he needs to, but like otherwise he's like, I'm done.
Quick
Wow.
question
Okay, he
mechanically.
can push.
When we first went through this, it gave us the what was it? Exhausted? Your
Fatigue.
Fatigued.
condition.
fatigue.
Do they have that still?
Yeah.
I didn't have it.
Gotcha.
I don't think.
Well, you might have it
should
now.
if you got.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, you should have if you got max hit point. Like if you ever failed a check.
So do I have it?
Yes.
Okay.
It'll go away with
Oh,
a long
then-
rest, but right now you're like mechanically fatigued. I think it's like a -1 to everything basically.
Yeah, just in terms of
Yeah.
being able to describe that, like what Aizen was asking, because like technically with that, we're a little slower, both in
Yeah.
initiative, both in reacting, and like that kind of stuff. So
Right, and that's as the one strong person left who can actually maybe defend. I have to be the one who's like organizing how we get out of here to make sure that you guys don't get murked.
Yeah, Tetsu's already like shuffling off, and like his like as he starts to walk, like he just kind of like shakes his left arm, and like the shield just bursts into life as he starts walking out of here. He's not sure he needs it, but he has his shield up, ready to go.
Zeha
Like,
is
he
going
looks like he's just
to
prepared.
try to just stand up. Like she's like, yeah, no, I could do this. We'll see it.
Faceplant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I don't know. Is there a roll?
Aizen's doing
That's
the
up to
thing of
you.
like, do I need to like actively either stop and or catch you?
Yep. I'm gonna leave that up to you and Tetsu because mechanically you are, by rules as written, mechanically you are completely fine and can do everything that your character can do, but not mechanically and story wise. You have 1 hit point.
True. All right, so I think what if I
Loser.
close my eyes and click randomly on the conditions chart and see what happens? No kidding.
All right. If you click dead, then it stays.
You just fall
What
over
if
Negative
the
that's,
levels.
I don't know, unconscious or bleeding? Suddenly, I just start bleeding. No, I think she like she's very very woozy, but I think she does manage to stumble onto her feet, like gripping things to get up and. Cause a lot for me, like while Tetsu also was basically in a very similar condition with 1 hit point, like a lot of her damage is emotional right now.
Mhm.
Sure.
I think
I mean,
seeing this. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say I imagine there's a lot going through Zeha's mind, considering she, like, obviously all the players know what happened. They know both Zeha and Tetsu's side, but Zeha thinks she picked her grandmother's body. Understands that means she shouldn't be here. So now, like, did she accidentally forego her grandmother? She's here.
True.
Like, Tetsu knows he brought her back. Dr. Lin thinks him and Aizen brought her back. Like, Moat probably assumes he did something to the computer, or they did something to the computer. So, like, I imagine there's a lot of feelings and emotional, like, stuff going on right now.
Right. Yeah.
A lot
I
of
think.
confusion.
Yeah, I think Zeha's incredibly confused, and that's why when like Dr. Len said that he brought the like he and Aizen brought her back, she was like, no, like something's not right here.
Good
but
try,
it's-
nerd.
She's trying to think about like what happened and how this like what she's doing here, and she can't quite process it for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the plan for the play?
Aizen is going into work mode and going to try to get everyone safely away.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we need
Tetsu-
to get above ground if we can make extra contact with the Starfinder Society, then perfect. If we can just not be down here anymore, also wonderful. Yeah.
I think the plan is, and where Tetsu is currently heading, is he remembers they were talking about the door and that they kind of forgot they could go back through. So Tetsu is heading to where he thinks that would be, so that they can go knock or however that's going to work.
Okay. Give me an
and he's got the orb with his hand, with him still.
Yep. Right now, we'll say that you guys are making your way at least back to your room. You're being kind of escorted there by Vizco. Dole elects to stay down right now.
Where's Jish's body?
On my back.
On Tetsu's back.
He's C-3PO.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think because you Tetsu walked out ahead, so as I get out of here, and I think there's an elevator or something, just the first moment that my eyes kind of settle on Jish's body, I'm going to my heart rate picks up, and I grab my hand to my headband, and I'm starting to it brings me back to the decision that I made, and I'm just starting to kind of a little freak out, contained, but what's no, and then she doesn't quite know what to do because she can't check in on her grandmother as far as she knows, so she's a little flustered.
For sure. Tetsu takes one really hard step up the stairs, and Jish's arm falls on you.
Just grabs hold of your shoulder. Hello, Zeha.
Yep.
She just screams bloody murder.
Okay.
Len,
but
you might want to sedate her. She looks like she's freaking out.
Don't tempt him.
I don't think she can handle that right now.
I don't think I could carry two people if things go wrong. One person.
Wait, who else are you carrying?
Well, I'm not in case if something happens with Tetsu, I'll have to carry Tetsu. If something happens with Zeha, I'll have to carry Zeha. If we trank Zeha now and then something goes wrong with Tetsu, then I'm stuck.
I think I start just
Fair.
pointing at Jish, though it might at first look like I'm pointing at Tetsu. Is he there? Is he dead?
Tetsu? No, almost, but no, not quite.
And she kind of frustrated, goes towards Jish to just almost pulling him off, just checking him over,
As Tetsu feels tugging at his Jish backpack, he
falls down the
kind of
stairs.
Yeah, now he turns around and kind of grabs her arm to prevent her from grabbing it and goes, "He is not there. I do not know if he will be. I don't think so, but I saw him go away with the code. So
you
don't touch in case it comes back."
She immediately does not go for touching him
with
anymore.
The code?
You saw him.
I'm sorry. Can you explain that?
Please, I seem to be out of the loop.
At this point, we're going to say you're in your room.
Okay. Yeah, Tetsu kind of walks in the room and sits down, and he kind of restraps Jish so that he's got it in the backpack part way and stuff, and he's tying it down a little bit extra and goes, when I was trying to dig Zeha out of the code, I saw bits in there, and
you tried to do
one
what?
of them. I told
you did
you
this?
that's.
This is why I'm
mean,
here.
I assume so. There was you and Jish and something else, and the something else was coming out, and so I put you on that so that
Did
I
you
got
do anything to her?
you out.
Is she
To who?
my grandmother? She was
Dead.
What?
No.
She's been dead for a while, you said.
And she's like hyperventilating and just kind of like can't quite like put it in words.
Did I see like an old Zeha in there, like when I saw like the code and stuff, and you were describing stuff? Like, do I
No.
get the sense? Okay.
I mean, it definitely, like, it was... I'm trying to think of the best way to explain it in code. Like, I definitely said...
I knew like one of
Jewish.
them was Jish.
Yeah, then you could tell what was Zeha. So I'm gonna say you could tell that there was an older Kasata there. Like,
Yeah,
I think that's all Tetsu would really know.
Tetsu kind of thinks a moment and goes, I don't know if there was 2 Kasatha in the forge,
I chose
and
her.
one was leaving.
I chose her. And then I'm like I like 4 hands like cradling like my head, like 2 on the headband, like 2 on like the back of my head, and I'm trying to just go through my memories of her and make sure that like I remember her. I know everything that I knew before.
Tetsu starts thinking back to see if he remembers leaving any bits behind, because Zeha might be broke.
Okay. Zeha, you remember everything?
Okay. She's there. She's... If I didn't, I would forget.
Yes, I saw her leaving the computer,
With...
and it was just her, and I was trying to get you out, so I attached her to you, but I couldn't attach Jish as well, because it was too heavy, too much data. It was very difficult and magical, and I'm not good at that. And so I let the Jish part go, and
You
brought
me back.
you out with it. Yes.
She just like drops her arms and like just like almost like falls over to you and just like hugs the hell out of you.
What
At
the
this point,
hell
you
is
see
going on?
Dr. Lin kind of... At this point, you see Dr. Lin kind of sitting there, and for the sake of story, he is recoiling into himself a little bit.
Just the tentacles are getting smaller as he's literally recoiling into a perfect sphere.
He gets shorter.
Whoa.
Turns into a jelly blob.
What do you mean I didn't do this?
I do suck as a doctor. Oh no. Tetsu beat me.
Actually, yeah,
Yeah, we have resuscitation record. Tetsu 1, Len 0.
Wow. That's rough.
But Aizen, you're like, I know Dr. Len's recoiling on himself, like, as this realization that maybe he didn't save, like, her. What about you?
Aizen, like, this whole idea of you coming back alive through any process is just, like, doesn't fully compute to him in this way of, like, you're back alive, but I can't really comprehend, because he has, like, he understands magic exists, and it's a whole, like, cultural process,
Right.
but, like, the ins and outs are just so foreign to him in any sort of large capacity that it's just like, yeah,
Right.
miracles are good, hooray.
Yep.
That's, you know, it's he's just trying to kind of compute with the fact that everything is kind of working out and yet also falling apart at the same time, and he has to like try to make it not be horrible.
Yeah, Tetsu just looks awkward. Happy to help, no idea what to do from here.
Speaking of, give me an intelligence check. I think I said earlier, but we never got to it.
Me?
Tetsuya. This was based on you kind of thinking about the orb.
Okay. And also, Tetsu is... hold on. 11.
Okay. Yeah, you don't really have any idea how or where the door would be or how to get it to it.
I thought you said the orb.
Well, yeah. but
Yeah.
you were thinking about the door / holding the orb,
Yeah.
like when you were holding the orb, etc.
Can I also make that roll?
Yeah, because Tetsu's been
Yeah.
trying to tell them that like he wants to leave.
Right. And Eisen was the one
Like-
that was like, when we discussed before, we heard the story about people coming back through the door, that like theoretically it should open somehow.
Sure. Anyone that thinks their character would be like thinking about how to leave, like if that's on your character's mind, you can make an intelligence check. Dr. Lin will not.
And
Unfortunately.
Tetsu would normally not want to leave to help out, but A, he's basically dead, and B, they deleted the Soul Forge, so there's basically not much to help with if there's nothing left.
Yeah, that's Eisen's philosophy, is that the best thing we can do to help is to get better help.
Yep. I'm
What'd
not
you roll?
rolling this
Oh.
because
14 intelligence. Not great, but
We're gonna die.
14.
All right, both
14.
y'all got 14s. Reminder, it is a ability check, so it is much easier. It's much harder to even roll high. The two 14s were a natural 12 and a natural 10, so yeah, the only thing that can pop into y'all's mind is it would probably be similar to how you got here.
hmm
With a magic door.
from the very beginning, in terms of like when we've got here, I've been watching on a swivel anytime we've gone out in the streets, mapping things out, tracking. I'm both trained as a class skill in survival, and I have my bodyguard profession. Do I think I could get us back to where the door was?
You think you could, for sure. Probably pretty easily. Whether Dole would allow that or not, you're not sure. And I'll say your intelligence check was high enough that you, while it might help, you don't think that it's like reliant on that.
Okay.
As part of this moat is going down two routes. One being, is there a way that we might be able to mess with the orb that contains the dolium? Or in a similar vein to Eisen thinking about how to get back, if Eisen does bring it up at some point, like Mo could also show the aerial footage that Wasp has captured, so that might help us get a lay out of the city. Because I did send Wasp fairly high.
Yeah.
Yep. And with that, yeah, y'all could easily get back to the point. As far as messing with the orb, you can, it takes some time. You can give it some time. There'll be some checks. You're not really sure like what it's made of. It's made of the metal that they kind of make their city out of. It's a very strong, like malleable metal.
Yeah,
Almost
I would.
ceramic like.
And then out of character, what did we do to get here? Like, it was just all of us standing together thinking about the goal kind of a deal.
We used Grace to like activate the door, so we all stood together and then we held Grace out to like.
But that
activate
that didn't activate the door. That was our way of
That was our
putting
focus
our
point.
goal.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking
Yeah.
if we
So
did that, go gadget door.
So just everybody meditate around the orb.
I mean, I think like
Hold
once-
hands, sing Kumbaya, and open sesame.
Once you guys are found like where it is and we know where we have to walk back to, so I think once we do that, and that is everybody's focus, like standing together to say, okay, we're ready, we can do it at that point. But I don't think in this point in time we're all mentally even thinking about it.
Just definitely me.
I mean,
Right.
yeah, Eisen is definitely trying to think of an escape plan of what that means, and if he thinks that they don't need to be in that specific spot with that intelligence check because magic is weird, I think he would definitely be like, it'd be much safer to do it right now while they're not possibly gonna, court-martial or arrest us. to at least try.
If somebody, like, Zeha is out of it, but she's here. So if somebody's just like Zeha, like helps her turn her attention to it, then she can help. But right now on her own, I don't think she would.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think right now, because like you've been very traumatically affected, I don't think Eisen would push you right now, because that doesn't seem very healthy to have you possibly, affected that way.
Right.
So I think Eisen would go to Moat because he knew that he saw the drone and he's seen a lot of the code. And like, have you put down the orb at all once you like rested in the room? No, you've been cradling it. Okay.
Yeah, it's. I'm basically sitting there with the robot and the orb, just kind of waiting, because he doesn't know what to do right now, and he hasn't heard your thoughts. So.
Mm-hmm. Eisen, while this is going on and she's still kind of hugging you, will kind of sidle over to Moat as he's finishing putting on his armor and being like, the drift works with coordinates, right? Is it possible?
To an extent.
Maybe the door does something similar? Maybe it locks in coordinates somehow once we've, like, figured out where it wants to send us? If we can maybe connect or touch the orb as like a group, maybe it will recognize some sort of navigation system. I don't know magic that well. I'm pulling at straws here. But I don't. If a door can appear anywhere in space and time, surely we can make it just appear here, right? So there must be something.
In theory, I mean, the door just completely disappeared as soon as we walked through it when we got here. So it stands to reason that it could appear anywhere, but I don't know if there is something particular about where it tries to end up. I mean, going the other direction, we don't know the rules, I guess, but I mean,
it has more to do
putting
with
our focus in, like you mentioned, like that's probably one of our best bets.
The door responds to the desires of people, though, right? So surely it must still respond to our desires, maybe, if we're lucky.
Like sniffling and picking her head up, like hearing some of this, she's just kind of like, if it's any magic that's in tune to our thoughts or wants, we could try just thinking that we're ready, holding what we needed. Just, yeah, just try.
We need to go now, if we can.
It's better before they try to attack us, or something goes wrong, and then we can send help later. But we can't do anything right now.
We should wear off quickly.
While I have a quick second with as we potentially begin to like gather around, I do want to see if I might be able to give a quick assessment of the device holding the Dolium, like an engineering check to see if I can identify a certain type of technology, if there's anything I can point out about it.
Sure. It'll be an engineering check to see like how the device is put together and like what its purpose is. It'll be a physical science check to see like what it's composed of and see if you know the material.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going for the engineering. And still haven't used it before now. Tech Tinker, my theme allows me to Tinker allows me to reduce the DC of 5 to identify technological devices. So
that's bullshit.
Then ballin'. Hey, that's what I get, man. 32 on the check.
You really need it.
32, and potentially the DC is 5 lower. You're looking it over. It is not a technological device. You can tell. It seems to be, for all intents and purposes, a sphere that was placed around something and melded to the point of very, very fine machinery in which there's no like creases, there's no doors, there's no welds or anything. It looks like it is a perfect sphere that like came into existence like this. It doesn't even look like it was manufactured.
I got it,
Okay.
guys. I'll supercharge weapon.
Blast it!
On the Dolium.
First we took out your forge, and then we nuked your city.
Yeah.
Ready?
Bye.
Half your planet just boof.
Perfect ending to the campaign.
TPK.
All right,
Okay.
what's the plan?
I think
I think
Like
it's
the-
Kumbaya time.
the group huddle like Eisen is very acutely aware because A, he's uncomfortable, B, he's feeling a lot of emotions, and like he just wants to get away. And so like that's like his main goal is like I want to go home and be safe, and like I need external help.
We're all miming, putting our limbs together in different ways.
Yeah.
Tentacle for Dr. Len, 4 hands for Zeha. I love it.
I put my unicorn horn in.
I'll just stab the Dolium with my rock hand.
Ah, perfect.
I
No,
thought like
well,
all of our
there we
hands are
go.
in the middle and you just like stab through them.
Like a paper spike.
All for one. Yes.
Okay. So everybody's thinking about going back to Absalom?
Please, for the love of God.
Yes.
Thinking about Zeha, at least in her understanding, what she tried very poorly to get across is like thinking mission accomplished, good to go back. Does that make sense? Like the accomplishment part.
Yeah.
Eisen, I think, is trying to think about that, but I think he words it awkwardly, which is probably going to make it harder, but it's just the way that he's going to do it. He's going to say, you know, we need to leave help, we need to go home. He doesn't like, Absalom Station is like the place where he works, but that's not like the thing that immediately pops into his head.
And Tetsu is thinking of Absalom, but mostly sanctuary, somewhere safe,
Right.
and return. Like, if you don't get us to Absalom, cool. Just somewhere where we're not gonna die. That'd be great.
And Moda's thinking specifically of the door that they went into in Absalom.
Len's thinking of doctor papers.
I think Dr. Lin is also thinking of both Sanctuary and Absalom. So, everybody give me a flat D20 roll.
Am I doing a -1 for fatigue or no?
Nope.
Nat 20!
I thought Dr. Lin rolled a nat 20. I was like, oh, it's staying.
Guys, this is super bad.
This is
Because
great.
while you got a nat 20, I got a 3.
I got
And
it.
everybody else
Jesus.
did pretty bad.
Okay, so let's put it into perspective. 4 of us rolled so bad that combining all of our scores did not add up to the last person's.
Yeah, we got a 15 total.
Look,
Plus the 20.
Eisen has a very strong tie to his home, so I guess I know where we're ending up.
Oh, please no.
That is
I don't want to eat
true.
rocks.
Maybe it was actually
I
to see
just
how
want
close
food and
we
a
were
bed.
to each other that we were in alignment. So like literally all of us rolled really similar because we all were like, okay, return, and then fucking
Except for
Eisen out
Eisen.
here.
Eisen's like, I want to go home.
I like potatoes.
No, it was definitely not that. But
Should have been. Okay.
regardless of what rules that you guys don't know was on the roll, what bonuses were added, maybe a nat 20 just got it there. Maybe it was if 3 of y'all got really close to each other. You watch this white light kind of cut upwards vertical through the room that you're in,
It worked.
and then spreads out, and you see a white door in front of you.
So we gotta open the door?
No, it's like a door of white light, I should say.
Does
Walk
it
into
look
the
like
light,
Absalom?
I've had
Does it
enough
look
of
like
this.
Absalom?
You
Okay,
don't-
We're going back to
so-
Zeha's place.
does
Are we
Absalom
holding
look like white
hands?
light?
I don't know.
No,
I can't remember anymore. I'm getting too hungry. Did we hold hands going in the first time or not?
My
I don't believe so.
arms are linked between Tetsu and Moat anyways. Just, let's go.
It's kind of creepy.
The two weak people are trying to link arms and they just fall down together.
Just trip.
And take Moat with them.
I crushed Zeha. She's dead.
Eisen has to like just bundle them together and just carry them through as a unit.
Just
And
Three people because there's
Dr. Lin just ambies over all of you.
just Katamari roll like us all.
Yeah, no, Tetsu just gets up and he'll tentatively walk through the portal to who knows where.
The door closes. Tetsu, make me. No, I'm just kidding.
Got him.
Oh, that would have been so good.
Yeah. The rest of you follow, or you just let Tetsu die?
Yes.
How long?
I'm going last to make sure that like nothing happens to screw anything up.
Okay.
Yep.
And everybody
Nope.
goes through. The door closes behind you. And in that room, you see, obviously not your characters, but you see maybe 3, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe an hour has passed. And you see Visco come in. See 6, 10 more guards come in. They're all kind of searching, guns up.
It's real good we didn't stay.
Yeah, no.
For a second, I thought you meant like in the white space, like they followed us
No.
through that door. I was like, oh crap.
No.
No. On the other side of the white space,
I very
You
much
guys
thought that would
arrive.
happen.
you guys arrive in Absalom Station.
Okay.
With 2 guards on either side of you, probably stationed here for the door. And their guns are tentatively raised, as in like hey, somebody came through the door, we're on guard, but like you guys can tell they're not hostile, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah,
I don't even
Tetsu
say-
still aligns his shield.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything. I just
Oh.
like look at them and then just keep walking.
Oh, holds up badge. We're Starfinders. We're fine.
We need to talk to Arvin now.
You hear one of them say, "Yes, we've been waiting. Stay here," and like holds a finger up like to their neck, basically signaling like a comm unit, and says like, yeah, chokes themselves, and says they have arrived. Eventually, Arvin comes and greets you, looks you over, says, "Let us go back to the room and speak in private." And that's where we'll go and take a break.
Ooh.
I knew it.
Oh,
I knew it.
Ah.
Oh.
Ah.
Waffles caught it out.
What?
I think that I should do what everybody told me to do.
Okay.
Which is transition us out by saying, we'll be right back. Go stretch your legs, refresh your drinks, and bye. Something along those lines. All right, bye. We're back.
Boop, boop.
Boop.
All right.
All right.
We did it. Thanks for coming back to the second half of the show. See you next week.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
I don't think that's how second half works.
Well, half
can-
is
it
very.
can.
Yeah, it's a loosey-goosey term here. So I'm gonna reveal something that I heard over break, a little behind-the-scenes action.
Oh no. Telling my secrets.
Well, Eisen actually saved us all, but he will get no credit for this. You may continue.
Never do.
Okay. Boom.
Never will.
The soldiers never get any credit. All right. You guys are taken to Arvin's meeting room. Door is shut. Arvin gets into his position in his normal little chair. There are drinks and fruit set up. And he just kinda
food
looks-
is being eaten.
Yeah. He allows it to go. Like there's no care about the animalistic nature.
I don't think Zeha eats. I think she probably grabs some water and like starts off really slow.
I think Eisen, having seen Arvin drink enough times, goes to the wet bar and makes Arvin's favorite drink and just puts it in front of him on the table.
And poisons it. What's it?
No.
Yep.
Tetsu looks at you waiting for one.
If you look at him waiting for one, he'll roll his eyes but go back and make you a drink and then put a drink in front of him.
He continues to chew.
Arvin gives you a nod of thanks, Eisen, and kind of looks between all of you and says, if you're here, I assume you found what you were looking for?
And more, yes.
Where did you go?
Expedition, like,
Yeah.
Eisen would tell everything that was possibly pertinent to this conversation of like, this is where we went, this is the mess we made, we need to figure out how to clean it up, here's what happened when we tried to like figure it out. Like, he's not leaving anything off the table regardless of what anyone else
Uncharacteristically, Zeha is quiet.
Just wait
Moat
till
will-
later. You'll hear about it.
As Eisen gets towards the end, Moat will say, don't mention the virus.
Eisen doesn't know anything about the virus. He's like he knows enough that there was a problem with the machine.
Trap.
That's all he will say is like the machine failed in some capacity. I don't know how. Like, even if he says it's a virus, Eisen can give no details that like point in any direction. He's just like,
Only Tetsu knows.
computer machine broke.
Say it, green screen. Say it. I mean, blue screen. Blue screen.
Green screen.
Old term.
He'll like
in
yeah,
the
he'll be
future,
like
it's green screen.
he'll have
Mode
like
screen.
he'll be in the middle of like trying to like layman explain how the computer broke and then hear that word from Moat and then fill it in as it goes. Like, there's probably a bunch of points in which you like try to fill my brain with technical babble that both like takes
Yep.
me off tangent and
Oh, absolutely.
like I try
Some
to fill
things
in-
that are complete bullshit and some things that are legitimate.
And he only fills in the things that he feels confident enough that you're not bullshitting. So there's very few times that he actually fills it in, unless he feels that like amount of passion from you.
Oh, it's all passionate. I believe every word I'm
Okay.
saying.
Yeah, good.
It all
I'm
comes
thinking.
through. All right. Arvin listens to the story, kind of nods along. You see like a little bit of worry here, a little bit of like interest here, and towards the end he says, interesting. That planet, that society has been off the map for quite some time. Very well. We will be sending somebody there to see what we can do.
They will likely be hostile on second contact. We did kind of break their culture.
You just see a very wry smile come on his face.
We
Like that doesn't bother him.
we do have. I mean, did Moat or did Eisen mention the blueprints?
Oh yes, like
And yeah, okay.
it would have been part of like the presentation. He would have asked like to pull up both the schematics for the Armentar bodies and the like Ghost Forge, because there's no way that Eisen could have explained what the Ghost Forge was doing without like a physical representation of like this is what it was.
Well, plus they have a physical Amranta corpse.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Available.
Mhm.
Yep.
To which Tetsu would explain and be like, make sure this does not come back. I don't think it will. And I do not want it. And he kind of just puts it on the table.
Okay.
Zeha
And then
like
just
starts a little bit like
Zehain.
just sort of like that, like, and then just goes back to being quiet. Like she like wants to say it, does it, and then just goes
Gust.
back.
Must get them to stop being stupid. Give stuff.
Well, unfortunately, we can't see it because she's like slightly opening her mouth, but the mask is just covering it, so we just can't see.
It's more to
True.
Jish's body that it's like, you know, like she like moves a hand and like kind of leans forward for like a second and then like, never mind.
Three of her arms raise one finger, and you guys are like, 3 seconds? What?
Yeah. we literally wait exactly 3 seconds and then keep moving on.
Yeah, but Arvin basically says that they'll send somebody there to check it out. They'll take watch over the body, likely experiment on it, and see what they can find out. And he asked you see what you guys acquired.
At the comment for Jish though, Zeha, like when they say that they're gonna like experiment on it, Zeha kind of like looks and like locks eyes with him for a second and is just like, he went somewhere. He's not there, but he went somewhere. If you can find it.
When the code failed, everything went away, and the only place we saw it going to was somewhere in the drift. I do not know if that is where it went, but
You see him nod a little bit. And... Well, if we do see anything of the sort, then we can let you know if you wish. Though a husk of a body without code, I don't imagine we will.
no, probably not.
No.
But I do not know that there. Oh. He kind of looks at Zeha at this point, at remembering what he wants to see, and kind of just eyes Zeha if she's gonna make a fuss at him, like as he's like kind of slowly lifting his hand that holds the orb.
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, then if she doesn't, then he just kind of sets it out in front of him and rolls it down the table towards Arvin.
It
not
hits
like-
a glass and just
Wasp lands on it and kind of bounces and rolls back and forth a little bit. Wait, don't we want to introduce this to Grace? Isn't this the whole reason we went there, to get this, which seemed to be a potential upgrade for Grace somehow?
Actually, where is
Maybe
Grace?
she can do it.
she was with Arvin, so Arvin should have her somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, he's not holding her in his open hand right now, but if y'all want to ask, then that's a valid question.
Give us the grace.
Eisen was going to. He was just going to wait till the conversation got to that point.
Yeah, you see Arvin pick up the orb in his hand and kind of roll it around a little and says, "This is a very interesting piece of..." You see him like make a face trying to think of the right word to say. Equipment?
It was
Not sure I've
installed.
ever seen a... What were you gonna say?
It was installed by whoever was trying to use these people for farming, energy, intelligence. It's foreign to the planet, but no one realized it was. They thought it was always a part of the machine.
You see him like roll it back in his hand again for a second, and then you see both of his hands glow. He says, "A power source, yes?"
That's what they claimed it was. Whether it actually is It's hard to say.
It does emit a power. He kind of places it on the table and rolls it back really slowly towards you.
This is. He detect. Did I
good stuff.
see what he did? Was it detect magic?
No, it was not, but it was something of a similar sort.
Okay. Did I detected magic on this in the past, right?
You did.
Did it react? I can't remember.
No,
No.
it didn't.
No.
Okay.
Before we get too much further on the discussion of the orb, other things that are also potentially pressing, the information we got from just his comm unit, I think we would have gone over that. So, well, we have a couple of important things. The client, Raya, which was also an interesting thing to me. It's like, it's a Lashunta, but is Nanal's real name Raya? Did she operate under a false name? Maybe.
Mhm.
That's
Oh,
what my thought process was. And then
We don't even know to think of Nanal.
Mm-hmm.
true,
Is the
but
downside.
yeah, so yeah, that's definitely out of character thought process. But I assume Eisen would mention Raya in the briefing, as well as the Wolf's Den, which I wonder what the reaction to the Wolf's Den might be.
Yeah, I'll keep it out of character, but give you all information that Arvin would give you if you're bringing all this up. He knows nothing about Raya, like at all, really. Like you say, Raya, it's a Lashunta name, and he's like, it sounds like it would be, basically. And that's about all you get. As far as the Wolf's Den, he has heard of it. It is. He can give you about as much. He can give you about as much / a little less than you have, because you have a password and you have like, it feels very dangerous, but they're working above their pay grade, et cetera, et cetera. He can be like, yes, I've heard of it. It's an organization within the diaspora. It is kind of a mercenary / pirate type of organization. They just, like much of the diaspora, they do what they want. But he says, but I've heard of the name, which means they're at least relatively powerful.
Yeah.
Think of the diaspora kind of like a mini world of Mad Max-ish place. Like, it just kind of, there's no real rules. It just kind of,
It's like the
whoever's
slum of
strongest.
of the area.
Kind of the slum. Yeah, it's something between like the slum, and there are still people who do well, live well, like still some good ritzy people there. It's just, it's a place without really like real rules or anything.
Right. It's not.
No.
Yeah. I think when he rolls the power orby dolium, dolium, back to us, I think like Zeha gets pulled in again like a little bit throughout the whole explanation, and she just kind of like looks at it. She doesn't like go to catch it or anything.
My precious.
Do you have Grace?
Yes, I do. Would you like her here? I can have you all escorted to a room.
Do you have
You see, like, he's probably clearly bringing that up because of how y'all look at this point. Like,
do you have a room that would block the signal?
unfortunately
one.
not, no, but we can escort you to one of the laboratories. There are some down there that do block signals for testing purposes.
If we could
You will probably want it recorded anyway.
do that first, and then a room, probably.
Very well. I will get that arranged for you. I will escort you down to the lab myself. I can leave if you wish, and I'll have the room information sent to you on your comm units.
She
Should we
nods.
copy the information that we've gathered to you so that you can use it possibly for helping the people there?
That, if you want to send me the schematics and stuff like that, that's fine. The conversation's been recorded, so I will have all the information.
All right, fine. It really took a lot out of us. Whatever comes next, we might have to wait a bit.
He nods a little at that, and for sake of timing, we'll escort you to the laboratory if that's what y'all wish.
Yeah.
I think so. Better to find out whether we failed early than later.
Kind of like working on what is left of, like, what's the idiom? Like steam, like
Running on fumes.
running on fumes.
Yeah,
Thank
running
you,
on
thank
fumes,
you.
yeah.
Running fumes.
Running on fumes, and kind of like the sole focus right now being like finish this thing so that I can process. Zeha just like is probably one of the first to stand up, and then just kind of looks at the orb for a second and will grab it and just walk right after. Like, she's not walking with a pep in her step. She's not walking with like a lot of purpose or energy. She is just like, okay, let's do this.
She's a robot. Jish came back in her body.
Spoilers.
Killer. Yeah, no. Tetsu is walking off with a good bit of food and just going downstairs with everybody else, just ready to see this done and go take nap time.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Okay. Yeah, you guys all go down there. Dr. Lynn still being kind of like reclusive at this point. You're brought to a laboratory that
He just doesn't care.
he doesn't care at all. He hates all of you. You guys are brought to a laboratory that kind of at the bottom of the it's very much like the Amrantah like laboratory type thing, like where the Ghost Forge was. You go down an elevator 4, 5, 6 floors, a little less than Amrantah, obviously. Come out, it is a metal hallway and a large metal wall in front of you that you guys can assume is probably made of lead. You watch as one code is entered, the door slides open straight up, and you're allowed to go in.
I think 100% the likeness to the previous situation is not lost on Zeha, and her heart rate just goes up. Like her heart beats a little bit faster in her chest, and her anxiety goes up a little bit.
Danger.
But that's almost like a instinctual reaction. And she goes in.
Sure.
Is
For sake of setting, I want to know: do you guys like remove your spacesuits, like you're like you've been on oxygen this whole time because there was no atmosphere, you know?
Yes. As
I lowered the defenses, like the
Yeah.
bubble.
Like not don't strip, but like you remove like your face mask and
I
like, that kind of
stripped
stuff,
completely naked.
like- Okay.
yeah, I think she breathes like new air for the first time. I think she did that like as soon as we left that like arena thing from the door.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yep. That's what I was thinking. I forgot to ask it though, so I wanted to kind of know like
He wants
probably like
he wants to
because
know.
we were
Sorry.
in sorry, go ahead. I'll say my thing later.
He just wants to know because if the radiation from this orb is gonna kill us or not. That's really what he wants to know.
that's definitely
Yeah.
what it is.
I know,
Fair,
I
fair.
know.
Yeah,
And it-
since we were in I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I didn't want to. It's not like I wanted to picture the scene of you talking to Arvin out of your mask and stuff like a good GM or nothing. No. I just want to kill you.
No, of course. That was
Alright,
totally
that's all
not
I
a
was
question.
saying.
Anyways, Mo.
I was gonna say that since Moat got the Aztec's armor, but we were on a non-atmospheric planet, I probably just put that armor on over my utility coveralls, and
Valid.
now I finally have the opportunity to take those off with deactivating the protections. So that
Nice.
feels a lot better.
I like it. All right, but you guys find yourself basically in this large metal box.
Is Grace there?
Yeah, he had like given you grace, obviously in her lead box.
Her travel bag.
Yeah.
And I think at one point, like, seeing how reclusive Dr. Lin is being, but not having the spoons, for those who get that reference, to necessarily, like, take care of somebody else before herself right now, she, Farso, you better be listening. She, probably at one point, like, just, like, in the space from the office down to here, just put a hand on his, like, bell, like, on his shoulder area. and not saying anything, just, like, put a hand on him, kind of let this, like, exhale out, and then continued.
I think he flinches slightly, lets your hand stay there for about 2 seconds, and then purposely pulls away.
Yep. And she does not have, like I said, the spoons to really deal with that. But I think she would have made the gesture. In the room, she'll just kind of, like, look around. Can someone make sure we're secure?
I'm on it.
Just
Like-
make sure everything's in order. Like, I don't know, like, turn on the ambience. I don't know.
Right. Like,
on
Eisen,
the
from the
ambience.
second that we've entered, like, this space, even though we should be relaxing, he's been filled with a nervous energy of, like, I was prepared for a big fight to happen, and now the fight isn't happening, and now I have no place to put that energy.
Mhm.
And so he's funneled all that energy into being, like, a watchdog. So he's been, like, moving through the group and, like, making sure that, like, not touching anyone, but, like, being in everyone's personal space a little bit, just to make sure that, like, if anything were to happen, he can be always there.
Maybe, like, in the office with
like
when
a
we were,
bad
like,
dog.
debriefing, like, did you, like, never sit down? Were you just kind of standing in the back the whole time, like?
Like, I was doing, like, the military pacing. Like,
Yeah.
I was talking and, like, moving, and, like,
Yeah.
there was never a point in which I sat.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so with that in order, unless the checks are needed.
No checks. Easy enough to see that you're. I mean, no one's like purposely trying to get in. Easily enough to see that you like can lock it down. It's a lead box. Like, it's what it's made for. Once the door's shut, it's sealed. Like, it's just a lead box.
Yeah,
But it's like the lead box that Grace is currently in. It's just a lot bigger.
right. I kind of hand the orb off back to Tetsu.
He holds it.
And take Grace out. Let her turn on.
She comes up.
Yeah. Grace.
I'm coming in.
Yes.
There is a weird, like, tension release from Zeha at hearing her voice. Like, even Zeha's not quite sure why.
Right. I mean, it's back to normal.
Right. Like, a little. It's, yeah. There's something there. Okay. And then, like, because it's what she always asks, how are you?
I am. As I always am.
Do you recall the door that we brought you to?
I'll ask because I don't remember. Was she in her box at that point or no?
We had to take her out so she could,
I
like,
think we took her out of the box.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
All right.
Briefly, obviously.
Yes, I do.
Do you recall getting any read on the door? The myriad of change?
It seemed as much as any other type of travel, like a drift beacon or such.
Do I know if drift beacons are the type of technology, like, they're directly associated with kind of pre-gap, right? Me knowing the lore, they're triune direct, right? They're like...
They were created by Triune during the gap, and then like the first sanctions of drift beacons were created by Triune during the gap, and then Triune also man, there's a word for it, and my brain can't think of it. But basically,
Sanctified?
embellish the knowledge of
Disseminate.
of how to create drift beacons onto other people as well. So they did not have to continue to create every single drift beacon that needed to be made.
Right. So it becomes like a. So I can think of this door as something similar in technology.
In a way, yeah, for sure. Like that's the kind of like basically, for lack of better comparisons in my GM brain, it is like in fantasy roleplay or fantasy ttrpg where people are like, they say, yes, this has to do with planar travel.
Right.
Like Grace is like, yes, this has to do with drift travel. Like it's that kind of thing. Like planar travel can mean a lot of things. It can mean anything from astral to the inner planes to the outer planes.
Yep.
That kind of thing.
Okay. I see. Well, we went through the transportation. And you can see Zeha like actually talking with that kind of like, okay, I'm how do I sum up this trip in words?
Bad.
A very bad trip.
The worst trip.
Not dissimilar from a really bad acid trip. No, okay. So she kind of like hesitates. It was just like, so we went on the goal or pretense of finding technology akin to you. Pre-gap, unique. We achieved it with this, and I just kind of gesture to Tetsu, and the orb in his hand.
Tis I, Tetsu. Tetsu will hold up the orb like in front of her and go. Also, the soul forge that was there, but it was old like you, but pre-gap, I think.
True. Before you do a scan on this, are you familiar with ghost forges?
No, I have heard nothing of the sort.
What about Amranta?
I do know of the Amranta Society.
Share with us
What do you know about him?
Yeah.
She goes into explaining that the Amranta Society were basically a humanoidal type race. Insert lore here because I don't want to step on too many toes, but they're not yet explained in Starfinder, and I fully expect them to be one day. But they're a humanoidal type race that were known to have been connected to something that allowed them to reincarnate.
I fill that knowledge in with like, that is the Ghost Forge. It is complex technology with
It was.
mad there, but we know that there are multiple Ghost Forges. Like one is gone, but we like technically it still exists, right?
I will say you don't know. You know that there was prototype schematics.
I thought even
But
outside of
there
that
used
one,
to be, yeah.
the original Ghost Forges, there was more than one, not the prototype. I thought you said that.
If I said that, then I messed up.
Okay.
Okay.
Because that was the big
That
thing
is
about there
super
being a prototype schematics.
Right.
Is that like this was the Ghost Forge and somebody was trying to create something like it. It's like
I thought they
Yeah.
were just excited they could now make new ones elsewhere.
To me,
No,
this was the first one that was actually man-made. Like you said, like all the rest were found, all of the rest existed, but only the one. Okay.
yeah, it's much like this is Earth and now we're trying to make something like it. Like
Basically, you know, we teach her what we know and that it is now gone. Very, very briefly. Does she become curious or ask, like, follow-up questions on it, though.
No.
And in its original schematics, this was not a part of it. It was added after, although I have to believe it has to do with pre-gap, regardless of when it was added to the Ghost Forge. Please be cautious in scanning it. From my understanding, it contains a lot of energy.
Would you like me to scan it now?
I give a glance to everybody. Confirmation.
Eisen nods.
Nods.
I don't see a reason why not.
Go ahead.
Hold it up in front of her.
The two with the 1 health points are like, let's get up real close and personal to this guaranteed explosion.
I was thinking that, and I'm just super excited for the possibility.
Yeah.
Just so thrilled.
By the way, while this has been going on, has Arvin been in the corner or did he leave us?
It depends what y'all said. He would have stayed if y'all did not ask him to leave, but he also said, like, you would have had every opportunity to ask him to leave where it wasn't weird. Also, like, hey, we just want to be alone or whatever, because he said on the way down, like,
yeah,
and I'll let y'all have your space if you need it. Like, he opened that door already.
Yeah, so Zeha like would not have dissuaded that. Like assuming like he was like, I think the way you said it was like, and I can leave you guys alone, or I can stay if you want. Like, she would never have said like that. Yeah, do that. Like, she was like, if the default is leave us, then great.
Right. Eisen would have actually, like Zeha, not said anything to see what he reacted, and if he stayed, would have wanted to like watch him for different like cue points of like interesting like reactions depending on how this whole thing goes.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll take a step back in time real quick before all this happens. I think what would have happened is he would have let y'all in, and then kind of like, not awkwardly, because he's definitely not an awkward person, but very slowly left the room, as in like, this is a curious situation. I kind of want to see it, but you're gonna have to ask me to stay.
Oh,
I think Eisen would have then. I think because they're like it's going to be recorded anyway in Eisen's mind. I think Eisen would have like not said a word, but like when he was getting ready to leave, Eisen would have just said, put a hand on his shoulder and been like, "It's fine," in like a low tone while this is all going on. Just because I'd rather. Go ahead.
I should say, like, would you guys coming in here probably before he leaves? You see, there are no cameras in here because that would require some kind of like, you could never fully seal up the lid.
Zeha wants him gone.
So yeah, basically he slowly walks out, and unless someone asks him to stay, then he just leaves.
Eisen would wait till the last minute to do that. If you're like actively showing body movements of like not wanting him here and like pausing before he like actively waiting, then he wouldn't. I think for Eisen, it's much more of I want to be able to see what like the reaction is.
Right. So I think the way Zeha's default is, and obviously she's incredibly out of it, but I think the default is kind of along the lines of like, if let's say he had Grace with him and like he put Grace down, and I had the orb, I would have like stood there and been like that intention of like, clearly we're waiting on something to start.
Right. And at that point, Eisen wouldn't have said anything. Like he would have let Arvin go at that point. If only because he doesn't want the fight right now. Like having that fight right now.
Now's the time you can take her so easy.
It's true. I got 1 hit point.
Stab her really quick.
And it's not about like, just so you know, there's no intention of like, oh, because of secrets right now. It is just privacy.
No, yeah. Eisen understands that. That's not a problem. If we're talking about cards, this is
yeah.
Checkmark card. Yeah.
That's what I forgot this at the beginning of the session. Hey.
I got mine.
No, I forgot to like talk about it, like closed captions.
Oh, talk about
stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Because
you were rushed poorly. Arvin leaves and basically shuts down the room for y'all, unless obviously, unless y'all want to. Like, you can double check his shutdown of the room. It seems legit, etc., etc.
Okay.
But yeah, you're presenting the orb to Grace, I think is where we were.
She was
Yeah,
scared.
you reflex or fortitude save?
All three.
Yeah, will save fortitude save and
No, I'm
then a
just kidding.
reflex save.
You guys hear this?
The cutest scan.
As Grace kind of shines this very bright, like blue light over it, like in this conical shape. It's just goes over the entire ceramic little orb. Stops for a second, sits there. The second probably feels like 15, and then you guys hear,
I do feel an odd energy signature coming from within this orb. This orb, to me, means nothing.
Do we need to open it?
Is from what was explained to us about this orb,
Tetsu shakes it.
it was like Dolium. We did hear stuff about this. I'm trying to remember exactly. Dolium was inside, and this was used to contain it, and this was attached to the forge.
yep.
They talk about that they made this containment. Like, what did they tell us about it?
I mean, they didn't even know that it was here, remember?
Yeah, they didn't know. They thought it was always there.
They said they
Yeah.
found an amount in space at one point.
They did say that. Somebody had remembered some, I think it was, this might have been in Jish's log, or I don't think it was like Dole or anyone that knew about it.
I think it was part of the alterations they did for the shield.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Like that they knew
Got
what
it.
it was from.
Yep, like in the library when you guys did that like hacking research type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had found an amount in space that in very large quantities this can survive. In not large and like by large they didn't give a number, but you assume like planet size quantities.
They also said that if exposed to atmosphere,
Yep, if it is exposed to an atmosphere in small quantities, it basically becomes part of the atmosphere.
and disappears.
Yep.
I kind of look towards Dr. Len. Do you know of any measures of containment that would allow us to leak a small amount of the core in a atmosphereless environment to have her able to scan it?
You see him like snap out of whatever stupor he's in as I roll a physical science check.
Let's go, Verso! Take your hidden rolls off.
They're off. Natural 15,
Whoa.
but you don't get the notice bonus.
go.
He snaps out of whatever stupor he's in and says, well, if we're trying to not have an atmosphere, then it would clearly be a vacuum or space or something like that.
Yes, I understand, but I meant an artificial one in a lab.
Yeah, I'm sure they have that here. We did.
And
Do
the
you want to
TLDR of
go
that
get
is like,
one?
can we is even sure an atmosphereless like encasement, vacuum chamber, things
Yep.
like that I know exist, but
Yep.
does he think that like we can manipulate this sphere safely because it's volatile and there's more factors than just that?
Sure. Two things kind of come up in this time. Just speed it along, and we've been role playing, but I think these questions would have come up. One, Dr. Lin will say, yes, but I do think that we need to find out how to open it at all.
We asked
And
Tanagal.
then
Wrong RP.
Tetsu would kind of just look at it and go, "We could Can we not break it once it's in a vacuum?
And hold on to that question, because prior to that, I do think Grace would have said,
It'll explode.
Would you like to know what this is made of?
Yes. No hesitation.
Why is that a
Yeah.
question?
This is a boron nitrite compound. It is a very, very strong alloy.
In your scan, were you able to determine if it's one solid sphere, or is this composed together with seams?
It was created, but this is a solid sphere. My thoughts lead me to believe that it should not be handmade.
Can Tetsu would kind of like, well, thinking about it, does he think his ability to basically like take apart atoms would work on this, even if slowly, like just slowly like crush this thing into nothing?
yeah, I think, yeah, for sure. I think Tetsu definitely thinks that would work.
So,
Now Carrick doesn't think it'll work.
Yeah.
I didn't even make you roll. Get out of here.
I guess
I know.
So it's a solid like sphere of material. She senses energy inside. She said that it shouldn't be man-made, but it is.
It should not be handmade, is what she said. Like, it basically, for like in a different set of words, she doesn't think it was like crafted or forged. It's not like a sword that is handmade, though she does think it like it is an alloy and it was shaped into this form somehow.
Interesting.
I'll say without a roll, just because Zeha's the only magical person, and if I say roll mysticism, then it already lets you know where to go. It is probably magically made
I see. So
to be able to create something like this with no seams, etc., etc.
right. Is it something that I would consider a technological item?
No,
It's
there's no technology in it whatsoever.
Okay, something like what's his name said made me think that for a second, so I wanted to just double check.
So, could Tetsu, like, talking to Dr. Lin, like, ask if the Starfinder Society here has, like, a tube that, like, a person could stand in that could become vacuumless? Because Tetsu's thought is, if he's inside this tube, drains it of all atmosphere, and then crushes it with Grace inside, he can open this thing and let her access the juices.
Crushes
within.
Grace too.
we can
Well, that's after she says something mean.
identify those potentials after some rest and asking what facilities they could offer us.
Wait, before we go down that kind of lightning path, shouldn't we just try to have her interact with the sphere? I mean, the Ghost Forge was pulling energy from the thing. Surely she can do the same.
She is able to
Was she
detect the
not?
energy signatures. There is energy detectable from within and accessible, but she scanned it.
Tetsu hearing this as Zeha's explaining, he just looks at the orb, looks at Grace, and goes, tap. Just like physically
together.
taps Grace with it. Yeah.
Can you
You
try to
hear that?
interface with the energy?
Because it's a solid orb, so in theory, all of this could be just infused with whatever stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, you hear an almost metallic, like metal on metal. Bing. Nothing
Oh,
happens.
good. I thought that would work, and I was afraid.
You mentioned, Grace, that you receive an energy signature. Can you do anything with it?
Not through such an alloy, no.
And the Ghost Forge could. That is interesting.
Yeah, that's weird.
Also, don't think I didn't notice you saying think, Grace. I saw you think.
She said my thoughts.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Well, same difference. You think.
It's a phrase.
You thought.
Yeah.
Don't call her a thought.
She's a thought.
She thought.
All right. So, what else, guys?
I would think Are we sure we don't want to do this now?
We know it's Dolium. No. Are you... I know I feel like hell. You look it.
You both
Okay.
look equally about as bad, if I'm honest.
I just wanted it done before something else went bad.
I'm with Tetsu on this. If someone shut down that forge, we should try to finish this quickly.
If there is any negative effect from exposure, direct exposure to this energy, he's not going to make it. No. And like
I can be
she's
the-
like,
do it.
no.
I can be the one to do it. I have certain protections against energy.
He
It's
has
I
to
don't
literally
think you can break it.
has to atomize it.
There might be ways. We just have to think. There might be ways around this. We won't have Tetsu will have to wait days
High
before he's ready. We don't have.
agitation is dangerous around volatile energies. Temperature and atmosphere are dangerous around volatile energies. We're going to wait. I need some time.
As a thought, everyone's experienced some level of, patterned passcode on objects before, right? You get into a device using those. What about the
Rub it the right way, honey.
symbol? What about the symbol from the pillar that led us this direction? Maybe there's like a pattern passcode on it or something like that. I mean, it's worth trying.
What was the symbol on this one?
It was an
it was
old-
an
But we'll flash
old
it.
Starfinder.
Yeah.
The old
Emblem.
Starfinder logo.
Tetsu quickly.
Out of curiosity, but puts the Starfinder symbol towards the thing. We don't want to open it here, do we? Just in case.
Well, it needs to be open around. Oh. Yes. No, let's not do that.
In an
No.
You can see Zeha like
No,
pause
let's
because
not.
she's when it comes to like intelligent like curiosities like this, like technically what you're saying is valid. Like she has that curiosity as well. But she's like
we need a vacuum.
yeah. She's like Dunsky's as well. That's a
Which
fascinating
we could
theory that
get.
we'd be happy to test. But perhaps before, let's take some time, get some theories
28
together,
days.
and we'll try those that she kind of like looks at Moat first, and if all else fails, we'll go the
We Tetsu.
Tetsu route. Grace, is there anything else you could tell us about the material this was made from? Similar things that are made with this, or people that utilize these types of metals?
These metals are often made to create pipes that house acids. They are highly resistant to acidic type damages.
Which would make sense why the Amranta created their buildings out of basically these metals. It is a very similar metal to their buildings because the swarm is known to house quite a bit of acid.
So just
Technically,
kind of
my damage is acid
Yeah.
Mm.
or bludgeoning. It
Right,
could be
right.
either. But
what
like,
was gosh, what's his face? Not Jish, the leader. Dole. Was he
Dole.
the only magic user that I was aware of?
That y'all are aware of, yeah.
we also didn't meet a ton of people.
Yeah. All right.
Let
got
us go
this.
rest then.
I just don't understand. We got this because of Grace. We got it because precap technology was at the forge. Did we get rid of what we actually needed? Was it not this?
I doubt the door would have opened.
I suppose.
We could answer it now if you wanted.
No. She kind of like.
I mean, if it was magically sealed, could it be just magically unsealed? Isn't there a way to... Back home, you can shape things all kinds of ways, and all kinds of rituals to shaping blades or whatnot. Isn't there some sort of ritual to shape metal that would open this thing like a flower?
Do I know of any magical? I know obviously I don't have those skills, but do I know of some skills that might magically create it, let alone uncreate it?
Give me a mysticism check.
27.
Oh.
Give me a second.
Let's look through your
He's like, I actually have to
spells."
check notes.
I'm looking for like a
Shaped
shaper.
metal stuff.
Yeah, like, yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
get to shape anything.
Is there?
No.
No.
No such spell that would allow you to like literally twist metal and that type of thing.
But maybe so.
I mean, there are obviously like if you think this is created, there are dispelled magics. If you think this is literally magic, but it looks to be metal. Anybody, I'll say, like most of at least some of your party has enough high physical science and engineering checks to know that while metals can be highly durable to some things, they can be highly susceptible to others.
Right.
So if it's highly durable to acid, it can be highly susceptible to something else. You just basically, you don't think it's an impossible puzzle. You just think, okay, vacuum, piece 1. Susceptible thing, piece 2. Grace, piece 3, probably.
That's if we
Yeah.
want her to directly connect with the dolium inside.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah, that's if you're assuming that now that she has scanned the ceramic and saying that means nothing to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um.
Though Moat would also bring up in the conversation of how to open it, they can refashion tech items into laser drills, so we can use a laser drill to potentially bore a hole into the orb.
Again, my biggest concern is finding a way to do it without introducing energy or heightened temperature changes to the volatile material inside.
Fair.
Either of those.
But let's do some research on the casing. I'll do some research on the other side, the magical side. And like as she's kind of thinking about this, she kind of turns to Grace, and she kind of goes down like so her head is level with like Grace on the table. Grace,
You suck.
Yes.
can you scan this? And she touches her headband.
Yes. I will. Now.
It's the only reason she did it.
You see the same light go over it, and you see Grace, like her lights flash a little bit as if she's registered something, and then you hear,
What would you like to know about your headband?
So, I'm trying to think of like how I would think of this headband in character. I know it's a spell cache. It is my spell cache. So it's for technomancers, and actually let me like pull this up so I can kind of make it make sense. So a spell cache can literally be a device or technological implant, an item, whatever, a symbol. It doesn't actually say what it really is. Yeah. So I know that it has to do with my connection to magic and technology. What and like and Zeha herself is at a loss for words. Like, is there anything there?
I sense some magical energy inside.
That's it.
That is all I sense from your headband, yes.
And a kind of like upset Zeha like stands back up, mutters like thank you, and let's get some rest.
Yeah, and as we like kind of, I assume from here, we all get our own kind of rooms in the suites of Starfighter peoples.
You're offered a large, like, for lack of better words, Airbnb type, like, hey, this has got
A penthouse.
4 or 5 bed, yeah, like a penthouse. It's got like 4 or 5 bedrooms if you want it. If somebody, like, that's what you're offered, like face value. And then if somebody says like, hey, can I have my own room? You're given it.
This is probably the same apartment suite that like we were at the first
Yep.
time around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It has a really cool sunken living room with like a fireplace and then like a kitchen next to it. It's all, I have it all pictured in my head. I've been here before.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. As we start kind of heading back to the room, and everybody like kind of gets back to the room and starts settling in their own place, Tetsu kind of, he's like walking to where he's assuming his room is going to be, but like as Moat's doing the same, and as Moat like finds their room, he just walks in behind Moat as if like he's just kind of walking along with him, and as he enters the room, he kind of shuts the door behind him and just kind of stands there for a moment to just look down at Moat quietly.
What?
Who are you working for? Do you know who Jish is? Is that why we went here?
What? I met. Okay, that thing must have knocked a lot more out of you than you're letting on, because. Wow. Now, okay, if you're confused, I work for the Starfinder Society, and I met Jish and every other person on that planet at the same time as you. Okay? Are we good?
When did you put
Fusion
the
fog
code
over?
into the Ghost Forge?
I didn't put code in. The only thing I changed was, or looked up, was where the connection was going. That's it.
Tetsu kind of like pulls out his like compad and starts like typing the thing that he notices is kind of like Moat's signature when they're doing code, and goes, "See this?" And he shows like the string of code.
Where did you see that?
In the Ghost Forge. So, when did you do this?
I didn't. The closest I got was when I tried to make it spark or flash so we could distract Jish in the fight, but I didn't actually insert anything. It was far too complex for me to be able to do.
This code was wrapped around Zeha like a noose. I broke this code to free Zeha.
I don't want to take away from this real quick.
Find that very hard to believe.
Sorry, what?
I just want to make sure we're on the same page. Wasn't this signature in the virus that wiped after?
Right. Well,
Yeah.
That's in the code, the magical soup code that Tetsu is like breaking. So like he assumes it's like all woven in together.
Oh, okay. Was the wipe afterwards separate? Waffles?
What do you mean separate?
Like, Tetsu was in the code, everything with me, all that stuff, and then I thought after he did that, a virus came in and wiped everything.
Nah, the virus was there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I will say thus far, I'm not discrediting anything in the roleplay.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
But yeah, sorry, what did you say, Mo?
I said, I find that very hard to believe.
So I'm lying.
I don't know what's going on. I don't want to say you're lying because you did something, apparently, and brought Zeha back against her wishes, as I'm to understand. So that's plenty of weirdness from your end as well. But I'm not saying that you did something wrong. And I'm telling you, I didn't do anything that would mess up the forge. My whole ideal was to fix everything going on with the forge at a time when we could manage it. I didn't think it was going to be a good idea to do what we did. The forge was working just fine until you decided to go back to it to work with Zeha, and I couldn't let you do that alone because you would have fucking died too.
If you didn't put it into the forge now, which I don't think you did, you put it in beforehand. So when did you work on a very powerful code like this? Have you ever done a job for people you don't know that this could be tied to?
I haven't done a job. I worked on my own tinkering a long time ago, but
With viruses?
sorry, the dog's running down the stairs, and I'm trying not to laugh as I'm talking. The last time I worked on anything got out of hand that I didn't really fully grasp was, oh God, 6, 7, 10 years ago, maybe? I don't know. But
And what was that?
it was this supposed to be some little scraper that went and gathered information off of different databases, and I was looking into ideas of like, oh hey, can I fork a few credits off of somebody's profile if I get it? I was just toying with some things, and then
So you could scrape an entire personality from something, from bits of data.
no, it
Like
was
memories.
It was information, more so personnel databases, like who goes where when, who has what shift, who's on patrol this day, who has vacation, who filed for sick days, that kind of stuff. That's what it was intended for. Just gather info, see what I could pull off of a particular database, and then it went wrong.
Did you sell it? What went wrong?
It's like it had a mind of its own. It didn't just gather the information. It ripped the info. And that kind of hit someone a little. It affected someone in particular. Someone that, didn't really do anything wrong, but, well, they kind of, by all technological senses, disappeared. All the info that got ripped didn't exist anymore. And by the time I even understood what was happening, I couldn't call it back. I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't control it. I know who it was, but I got out of there fast as I could. That's how I met Jaina.
Was that
she
Jaina
wasn't the one who did it or was affected, no, but Jaina got me out of there.
Was it a her?
No. It was a squad captain of a city guard, essentially. I don't know how to best to describe it anymore, but he was a sheriff, essentially. And everything that he did, all of his accomplishments, all his benefits, all of his life savings, gone. Because it's one stupid little thing. A few other people had some information ripped, but it really liked him, apparently. But last I assumed was he was still looking for me somewhere nearby. I don't think he would ever go to Akiton, but I don't like to think about that too much because, well, except for the being more careful with what I work on.
Well, your code was not lost or destroyed, and it looks like it was being actively used for whoever she is. So, we will have to figure that out. And also, Zeha, I saw trying to come back, so I didn't force her to. And do not try to blame me just for something to deflect from you being nervous about having done something. But it was your code, and you've done things in the past that was on the side, and so I had to know.
Done some things in the past on the side. You care to elaborate on that a little bit there, buddy?
Your social media things with your other personality, so I wasn't sure if you did code work on the side. Didn't know if you had a third job that you might have written a bad code for.
Well, I appreciate the check, but no.
That's why I didn't ask in front of Zeha or the rest.
And for that, good on you. But, maybe next time don't approach accusatory, because that raises some hackles. I don't like being cornered.
He's got one hit point.
It tried to erase me. So.
I'm sorry?
I said it tried to erase me. That's why I feel very good right now.
That's the first thing I'll dispute. Tetsu might actually think this, so keep down the roleplay if you wish
That's
to.
what I was.
The magical code itself and the virus, while integrated, were definitely two different things. Like the virus wiped the magical code, but the magical code was attacking.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And draining.
The virus was not attacking you.
Yeah, I don't
like
know.
I said,
if
Tetsu
would be
definitely
able-
might
yeah,
think that.
just because I failed my mysticism epically,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah,
Yeah, that
So,
can be
he-
like
he
this
assumes
roleplay
he
can
kinda got-
continue, and that can be a combo with Zeha later or not. Like who knows? But Tetsu could definitely think that.
yeah, and he doesn't sound like pissed that it did. It just
Yeah.
To him it's super dangerous. But he kind of just ends it with, as he's like half turns to start walking out and goes, "You should look to see if there's traces of that code somewhere out there that you can see what it's connected to, because it seems to be a very good code that the wrong people might be using."
I'll see what I
And
can find.
We need to find them. Then he kind of just walks out and goes for the longest coma nap he can manage. Oh, after getting the pups, the foxes, delivered to his room.
They're dead. They starved to death. It feels like
I left them food.
nobody would feed them because they disappeared. I'm just kidding. They're alive.
I know they are. They will live forever.
That's probably not true. All right, what's up?
Whatever.
So I think like Zeha has a lot of thinking and not rationalizing is not the word, but processing. And she starts to go. Sorry. As I keep the dog from putting her nose where she shouldn't be. Zeha like goes through the motions, right? Like she goes to her room and the door closes behind her and she is alone with her thoughts and like the processing of it all, and she lets it kind of like she goes to like step two towards like into the room to the bed and kind of ends up just like slumping on the ground with her back to the door, knees tucked, touching her headband, thinking like she could have sworn she doesn't get what most of this means. She knows that she picked her grandmother, and she understands that Tetsu did something to help her get back into her body and that by all means she should not be alive. She's trying to like she can't process right now that she chose not to live, like that she basically like made that decision, was ready for it, and now is still alive. That's too much. That's gonna come out later. Like that's just too much to process right now. But the immediacy that she can kind of focus on is obviously her thoughts are to her grandmother, and her thoughts are she chose her. Where did she go, and what does that even mean? So she's gonna sit there for a while and think about her grandmother, try to talk to her, like this, like I don't know if she fully like realizes that she heard her voice before she went down. Maybe she thinks that's like maybe that was after because she heard her voice after. Like she doesn't know. So she's just kind of that's where her brain's at. And if nothing comes of that, then she just kind of eventually like difficult, but she makes her way to the bed, and I don't know how much sleep she gets, but I think at one point she passes out and wakes with the start, like night, like all of it, like she's dealing with a lot.
For sure.
Sleeping like a baby over here.
Does anything come? Did anything come of like her grandmother?
No, not currently.
Okay.
Mind wipes.
If we're hunkering down, Eisen actually wouldn't go to like the room. He would stay in like the central area, wherever like the like sunken sofa is. That's where he'd like set up court. And having noticed something at Arvin's office when he was making the drink, he'd actually make himself a glass of water, like a snack, and then a second glass with just ice. And he'd sit down, he'd eat something for a second, like just kind of breathing, and then he'd look at the glass of ice curiously as it kind of snaps and gets the glass cold. And then he like rolls up his sleeve, sticks his hand in the glass of ice for an uncomfortably long period of time, lifts it out, looks at his hand oddly, and then without saying a word or anything, goes up, takes the glass, pours the ice out, and puts the glass away, and then just like tries to go about his business setting up court as he ruminates with whatever that was, and everything else on top of that in the middle of the space, kind of acting as bodyguard for all 5 of them in case for some reason someone breaks through the ceiling or breaks open a door.
Probably at like.
You're the weirdest person in the world.
Probably around like 4 a.m. or however, when Zeha realizes that like it's about as much rest as she's getting. If you're staying out there in like the common area, like you'd see Zeha come out and like finally like scrounge for maybe a little bit of food for the first time, you know, just a little bit.
Immediately Eisen, I don't know if Eisen like bolts up, but like he wakes up.
Yeah. She like when she realizes you're there, she's just like, sorry. And she'll like take it and go into her room to not bother you.
Like before you go away, he'll be like, everything okay?
That's a complicated question, I feel. But I'm here.
He'll like try to smile.
She doesn't.
You seem to be in one piece. Yeah, it's he's very awkward in this moment of like doesn't know how to reach out to you.
Yeah. You should get rest.
I'll rest later. Not right now. Not right now.
Do you want company?
Yes. And no. But my problems, you shouldn't have to deal with them. Do your best to try to get some rest if you can. If you can't, I think they have an old board game or something around here.
Yeah, I think like what would end up kind of settling in is like couple snacks, couple fruit, couple like random stuff set up on the table, the TV turned on like 3 volume, like, you know, one does it like the middle of the night, barely hearing anything. Yeah, like we maybe like a really like stupid board game and like that doesn't require much thought in front of us. And eventually like that's one of the like Zeha actually probably passes out on the couch.
Yeah.
For the only time.
I think during the game, especially, he would have gotten up and started making tea like he had the first time we stayed here. And he would actually start talking you through the process of like how he made the tea, knowing that you were curious the first time.
Right.
And he would start to talk through that, and he'd like start to turn his light down like low and like trying to actively like send out like beta waves of like light and energy to try to
relax.
Get you, like his anxiety is staying very high, but he like knows how to bottle it up enough to like this is a person that needs sleep. I know how to do this, and like trying to actively make you go to sleep, and then like
yeah. I think she has some of the tea, like she does absolutely. Like, you can tell like she's not quite starting any conversation herself, but she's able to kind of like ask the right questions and like and just continue a conversation to its bare minimum and talk about nothing at all really in the end. But she appreciates like the commonness of like learning about your culture, a little bit about the tea. You are not talking.
Thank God. Let's just all,
He
all
fell
be in
asleep.
agreement then.
Eisen falls asleep first. Yes.
So
Hold
here's
on.
how you make the.
Yeah, you cut out there. I was seeing you talk, but I wasn't hearing anything.
I think your internet did something.
Yeah.
Basically
Okay.
talking about nothing at all in the end, and there's a comfortableness until finally, like, yeah, like she zones out to like whatever's on the TV and falls asleep.
Yes, I think then Eisen would like wait for that moment and then like throw a throw blanket over you just to make sure that you don't get cold, and then just keep posting vigil. Probably even more uncomfortable now that he's like let you sprawl on the sofa, so that there's
Yep.
like even less space for Eisen. So Eisen is just like, because he's a big dude and he takes
I'm,
up like
I'm
a lot of
imagining this
space.
is a pretty big ass penthouse. There's like that big like.
There's multiple couches.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
so many, but definitely I took over like the big one, and so he's stuck with like the smaller couch or whatever.
Yeah.
And I imagine there's
Tetsu
something. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Tetsu finally comes out around like 5 a.m. to like a knock at the front door as he's like heading out in like a hoodie and just like sweatpants going to collect his DoorDash and just like and then just goes and get the food, just goes back to his room and just like shakes his head.
His Galaxy grub, right?
Yeah, Galaxy Girl, there we go.
I think Galaxy.
I
Group,
tried
love
to
it.
think of one, but I couldn't think of one that I liked.
I love. Okay, Galaxy.
they
Group,
all
somebody
suck,
write
yeah.
that down.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think though, just that, like the first moment, there's like any other sounds or whatever. Like there is like a panicked like wake up from Zeha, because she's still not like okay. But I imagine all of us like
He
while-
hands you a Horenthal nugget as you wake up and goes, "It is food," and goes to his room.
Perfect.
And almost like any other good sitcom, kind of comedically, as all of you are happen to be in the same room, everybody except for Dr. Lin hears their comm unit go off. Like bloop, 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 bloop. Like it's just comedic timing.
I knew we should open the fucking thing. I hate you. What does it
Zeha.
say?
Some are big, some are small. They're all different
They're
though.
different.
Ooh.
Zeha, you
I
get
don't like this.
a message on your comm unit that reads, it is from Jim. That is GEM. That reads, any luck on the astral transponder yet?
Nice. Oh, these are probably all the messages that got stuck in the drift. Finally. Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
Oh,
Eisen, I forgot what your person's name was. Not Hikari. What's the other one?
The doctor.
So there's
I
three.
had
There's
it,
the
and I lost
there's
it.
the Yasoki.
The
Who's Rusk.
Yosoki.
His name is Rusk, I believe, or Resk.
Rusk.
Rest.
Resk. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
You get a message from Resk that says, I am messaging because the others cannot. Hikari is in trouble.
Oh no! The worst thing.
no,
you
no,
could
no,
do
guys.
right
We gotta
now.
go to the elf planet. We gotta go.
Just so you know, the ship is gonna be like Eisen is like there is no conversation. Eisen is standing up and actively moving towards the door.
Tetsu, you get a message from Arvin That
No,
says-
that's not good. I know.
that says, we found a way for you to get in touch with Dr. Duro.
Ha!
You did.
Oh my god.
Of course you did.
Mo, you get two messages. I should say two messages. You get two notifications. Let me change that a little bit.
We totally ditched the guy on the
You have
planet.
a match on Tinder.
You get a message from Jaina in all caps that says, when are you coming to pick him up?
Yes.
I love it.
And then
I
you
love
get
it. Best friend.
one notification that kind of like, again, magically, almost comedically turns into 50, 100, 500 that are just these responses and these bashing notifications, dislikes, whatever you want to call it, on your platform. All that seem to stem from one comment that says, "This person is a fraud." And that's where we'll end the session.
Oh, I'm
was
so
right.
excited.
As always.
There's so much gonna go down. Oh,
The ship is
Damn.
mine, my dudes.
I definitely
we're all like pushing our
And-
way through the door, like no.